Well, another exciting day here at the shop. Sunday, drizzly, cold, got the little heater going. I was messing around with the motor again last night. I went ahead and already installed the timing chain and the oil pump. And now I'm getting ready to put the heads on. So I went ahead and cleaned all the carbon off the pistons, rechecked everything. So basically we're gonna sit here, start putting this thing back together, hopefully sometime this week. We'll be able to get this thing ready to install back in the truck and do a fire up on it. And, but let's put it back together. So now I got my head bolts and stuff in. I'm just gonna snug them up. I've got my drill or my impact on the lowest setting. So as soon as it touches contact, it's gonna quit turning. And then I'll come back and torque everything. All right, I've had a lot of y'all ask me in the comments and stuff, how do I like the battery tools versus the air tools? And honestly, it took me a long time to go from hand tools to air tools. And my father would get on to me about it because he got used to doing air tools and I still used to doing things by hand with hand tools. So I eventually converted over to air tools. And then my son, different generation gap, whatever you want to call it, while he was going to tech school and everything, they were using battery tools versus air. So they had the mini impact, the big impact, the ratchet, I mean, all kinds of things that were battery operated. And he tried to get me for the past few years, like, Dad, we need to invest in battery tools versus using the old air compressor. And it took a long time. And it's still, you know, I have my moments where I'll grab the hand tool versus this, but it does make life a little easier, and it's still a work in progress with me, but my son uses it on everything. You know, like learning the impact speed so you don't over torque, under torque. You know, it's like with these putting these heads back on, I've got it on a setting. As soon as it contacts the surface, that's it. It stops. It doesn't go any further. You know, and that way I can come back and torque everything down. But I mean, I like them. You know, like I said, work in progress with these still. And I'm getting used to them. I find them handy. And, but yeah, that's where I'm at with it. So let's get back on this. All right, guys, I got the head bolts down. On the final round of the torque sequence, the small bolts are 22 pounds flat. Head bolts you start out at 22, then a 90 degree on both sides of the set, then a final round of 90 degrees, total of 180. And on some of them, depending on the year, they had medium bolts that went in the front and the back. And those torque sequences were 90 and then 50. But the bolts that came out of this were all the same lengths. The bolts that went back in it were all the same lengths. So everything was done 90 times 2. So now that's all in place, done and over with. Ethan's cleaned them up some more parts because it's raining outside and it's damp. And we'll continue on. We're gonna put the valley van cover back on. Already put the new seals in it. A little bit of oil on it, help pop down. Go ahead and get me a couple bolts in. Keep the gasket in line. Your old trusty mallet. All right, I got them stuck down. I'll go back to torque these. I believe these are also 22 pounds, but I'm gonna double check. All right, now that's done. We're gonna drop in the knock sensors. I remember when those used to be on the side of the blocks. And we still got Ethan cleaning away on some parts. Too bad we couldn't be doing this outside today.
Right.
So he's got the front seal plate ready, so I'm gonna go ahead and get the new seal on it and get it installed. Now we're gonna put the timing cover on. Now what I'm gonna do now is just snug it on here. Once I get the rear main seal plate in, get it spun upside down, I need to line both the front and the back with the oil pan. Make sure all that stuff lines up. Once I do, then I'll secure it all down. All right, yep, got the front cover on with the rear seal. I just got them lightly snug. Now what we're gonna do is put the oil pan on. Once I get that on and more or less tightened up, then we'll draw the front and back together. That way it's an even seal all the way around. All right, guys, this is going to be it for today. Got about 90% buttoned up now. Just a little odd end things to do left: water pump, valve cover gaskets, exhaust, motor mounts, stuff like that. But she's all sealed back up, and hopefully this thing's not going to leak for a while like it did before. And it was kind of like I said, just a regasket ordeal, wasn't a total rebuild. And because everything else ran fine on this engine. But I think that's it for today. And appreciate everybody watching. I know I'm not the most exciting guy to watch sometimes, but I'm just me. I'm more involved with actually working than trying to talk and work at the same time. But it's okay. I mean, each person's different, and I appreciate that. But the goal now is this week coming up is getting this back into the truck, getting it fired up and checked for leaks, and send it down the road. So until the next video, have a good one, have a safe one, and I'll see you down the road.